Alright guys, it's finally here. I was waiting for the Talk is Jericho, which he sat down with Dean Ambrose, aka Jon Moxley, for his Talk is Jericho podcast. Now we're going to play a clip from the Talk is Jericho podcast, and then we're going to go over the key points, which Jon Moxley discusses why he left the company, and you guys are going to hear this clip here, a reason why he left. Like, we're going to go through the list of things why he left, but it's just crazy, man. And you can see it firsthand, so we're going to play the clip from his Talk is Jericho podcast.
Another example. This is not a big deal. This is not a big deal at all. It's a tiny little example, though, about how they just screw everything up. So, you're on the shelf for 9 months, something that keeps you going. You're imagining, like, your pop. That, like, unexpected, music hits, place goes nuts. We haven't seen him in a long time, You're waiting for that. You can't wait for it, right? So they have this promo segs going on. And I didn't realize that the way they wrote this, I'm waiting to sit behind the curtain, waiting to, I'm waiting for that pop. I'm like, okay, this is all going to be worth it. 9 months. It's all going to be worth this pop, man.
Yep.
And the way it's written, Seth goes, it's not his fault. He was just reading the line. If you're going to have a Scottish psychopath in your corner.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have a lunatic in mine. So, like, kind of the crowd went like, oh, he's it. So, like, it muddled the pop into, like, 4 different reactions because people were listening, and then some people were popping, and then by the time I came out, they were going nuts. But, like, it's a small example of, like, they ruined everything. How do you screw that up? Hit the button, play the music, but it's like they have to get their hands in it. They have to, like, justify their jobs or something. Like, it's a great example of, like, overproducing everything.
Yes.
How do you screw that up, Mm-hmm. Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. So I'm going to go back and listen to the whole thing. Again, I've not listened to the whole thing, but this just came out from No DQ. Because I do have Chris Jericho's podcast on my phone. I just don't listen to it like on a regular basis. But definitely going to be listening to this on the way to work. But let's just go over some of the key points. As you guys heard there, we always know WWE overproduces everything. Prime example, the Viking Experience. Prime example, the Kabuki Warriors. Prime example, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. The list goes on and on. Neville, Roman Reigns himself. List runs deep, people. So let's go over some of the key points here, as you heard right there already from Jon Moxley. So we're going to go through here. He says he talked about enjoying the Make-A-Wish stuff, and he became an adult in WWE. He enjoyed Make-A-Wish, which, certain people will enjoy doing the Make-A-Wish stuff, and you get to meet kids who are going through life-altering stuff that you can't control, but you're just there to put a smile on their face, which, who cannot enjoy that? Says he thought him cutting the promo talking about Roman's cancer was disrespectful, which we all said it was disrespectful, even the promo. Like, that's disrespectful. The guy just came back from cancer. Why would you include that into his promo? That makes no sense. Next one here. Says he felt like walking out on Raw when he got shots and vindicated during a promo, and that was the day he knew he 100% was not coming back. Vince tried to talk him into saying another cancer remark about Roman. Says it was so bad they could have lost sponsors. Refused to say it. 34 minutes into the podcast. So definitely going to fast forward to that part of the podcast. Says he was excited to return to wrestling when he was cleared to return, but not excited to return to WWE. That there knows he was not coming back. Says if there was no other promotion other than WWE, he said he would have left still. That right there, true. These are more shots, bro. He said right there, if there was no other wrestling promotion, he still would have left the company. Damn, Vince. Damn. Vince didn't know he was unhappy, even when John brings... What he says? He said Vince didn't know he was unhappy, even when John Dean being open with his frustrations to Vince about scripts. So the other scripts there when he said he didn't want to do the cancer stuff. So Vince did not know he was unhappy. If somebody tells you, I don't want to do this promo you're giving me to do, that could tell he's unhappy. For example, any backstage wrestler, if you're telling Vince, man, hey Vince, I don't want to do this promo, this does not clearly fly with me, that would tell you he's unhappy, would it not? Because again, you get people like Baron Corbin or Drew McIntyre or Roman Reigns who just accept what Vince gives them, like, hey, go say this. No problem, Vince. But if you're getting some pushback, which you're usually not getting pushback from a superstar, that tells you he's not happy. Wouldn't that not tell you? Next one was happy to take bumps from Nia Jax, but felt like it was them punishing him for leaving, which that's what we all thought. With him jobbing to EC3 or him losing to Drew McIntyre on countless appearances, and then they forcing you to take a bump from Nia Jax. You remember there was a point they were going to have Dean Ambrose face Nia Jax one-on-one in a match, and then they canceled it. So, I mean, that wouldn't look like a punishment. What's the next one? Hold on. Freaking phone. No, I don't want to see that. Next one was they offered him a WWE contract. He didn't look at it, though. So, they offered him a WWE contract, but Dean Ambrose did not look at it. That's another point of him not coming back. If somebody offers you, again, what were the reports? On my Vince McMahon AEW parody, I said $10 million for 5 years. That was me making, I don't know if it was the fully $10 million, but I know it was a hefty 6-figure contract, and he turned it down. The next one here, there's one more after this. His goal in AEW is to be the best version of himself, looking forward to creative freedom. Keyword right there. You can skip all the way down to that one in the article. Looking forward to creative freedom. That alone tells you right there, man. Creative freedom. Last one here says Tony Khan is the exact opposite of Vince. Likes him and the fact he's a huge wrestling fan. And then the last one here, this is the last one, guys. It's the last one. Talks about using social media now that he's out of WWE. He told Seth Rollins he's a wild animal that has been, how do you put it? He says it's a wild animal that has been locked up for way too long. When Seth was upset about him leaving, to clarify, he was referring to himself and says the wild animal is not Seth. He explained it to Seth as it being the end of Harry and the Harrisons where Harry is set free. So again, Dean Ambrose wanted to be set free, wanted to give, again, they're giving Daniel Bryan creative freedom to do this, how you call it, his gimmick right now. They gave him creative freedom. Dean Ambrose has been there almost as long as Daniel Bryan. Like, for example, when you've been there that long, you should be given some creative freedom. Like Bray Wyatt's given creative freedom. Why can't Dean Ambrose have creative freedom? John Cena gets creative freedom. Like, what's the problem with that? Listen, if you've been in a company longer than 4 or 5 years, you should be given creative freedom if you are great on the microphone. For example, Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's given creative freedom. Come on, man. Dean Ambrose has earned the creative freedom, in my opinion. But anyways, Vince, you let him go. So that's your own fault. You're about to lose Sasha Banks. Again, Sasha Banks has 3 years, guys. So at this point, either they're going to let Sasha Banks go, or she's going to stay at home for 3 years, and you forget about Sasha Banks. So the Revival, I know, want to leave. I mean, surprised Nakamura re-signed his contract. I'm surprised. I thought Nakamura would have left. Really surprised. But you're going to be pushing away more superstars at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you're going to be pushing away more superstars. So the podcast with Dean Ambrose is up on Talk is Jericho. I'm going to be listening to it on the way to work. But those are some of the key points right there for you guys to definitely go check out the podcast. It sounds like a tell-all podcast. So you guys comment down below what you think of the highlights. You're going to go listen to the podcast. Catch you guys back here tomorrow for some... I'll give you my NBA Finals predictions tomorrow in the video. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow for that.